Friday, December 16th, and we're glad to be out here. It's a beautiful morning. You see the sunrise coming up on the water. But we're back in Chalmette, the wall. We're going to go out. We've been fishing here the last few weeks, so head out there and see if the fish are on the rocks again or where they may be. They may be elsewhere, but we're going to find out. It's like conditions are very good this morning, very light winds, pressure's dropping, no rain in the forecast. Water temperature right here, surface water temperature is 56 degrees. So it's going to be a good morning. What we're trying to simulate is a kind of crisp hop off the bottom of the bait. Just kind of hops off the bottom. So it's a kind of pattern that I normally fish where I'll throw it out, let it sink to the bottom. So get it out there, let it drop down. It drops down pretty fast, that weight. And then just tighten it up till you have tension. Reel it down to maybe like 3 o'clock or like this height, and give it a nice sharp jump like that, and then just pause for a second, just hold it there for a second, because they'll often hit it, so you can feel the line. There'll be a bump on the line. If you get a bump on the line, then you gotta strike some more. And then if you don't have anything, reel back down, and then you can pause for a second and then give it another good sharp little snap. So you either feel a bump on the line, at which point you strike, or when you lift up, you'll feel a weight on there, which is a fish on there.
Okay.
And then you gotta, they just keep lifting up.
Okay.
Well, to get a good hook set. But one of the main things is after you give it that little sharp bounce, just pause for a second. Give a fish a chance to grab it. And if you feel anything, any kind of bump,
I got it.
You got a fish? First fish. Good job, Tom. There you go, nice fish. Swing that thing in here. Alright, good job. Pretty little fish. We began the morning fishing around where the rocks meet the wall on the south side, the outside of the wall. That's an area that I typically have fished in the last few years, and there have often been a lot of fish there. They were a few there this morning, but not that many, and so we picked up and moved farther down south along the rocks, and we immediately got into more fish down there. Yeah, he's got another one. Good job, Tom. Got another one, man. Knocking him out with that. That's little. That's a decent fish. It's about a 12 and a half. Decent fish. So this fluke that I'm using is a lot like the ultraviolet. It's got some of those same purple with the specks in it. Seems to be a good color. Part of the reason I tried that Zoom fluke was because it's a longer bait, and I wanted to see if the size of the fish would increase at all with the longer bait, but they didn't over the matrix shad. These next two clips show how persistent the fish were sometimes. Even though they didn't aggressively attack the bait, they would come back to it. So if I didn't get them on their first hit, I would just drop it and let them come back. This year I've been fishing the MRGO rocks a lot farther south than I have in previous years, and I never noticed before this year how complex that shoreline is. The rocks are not just a uniform wall. They have bays, they have points, they have areas where there's a flat section sticking out into the channel, and all those features hold fish differently or don't hold fish at all. As well, the bottom is not all the same. Some of it's soft, some of it is definitely hard. And when I felt a hard bottom coming, I got ready to catch fish. about 10 o'clock in the morning, the sun came out a bit and the wind actually picked up, but the fish bite really took off and it became a real free-for-all catching, and actually less of a fishing experience than just a catching experience. I have definitely been seeing a pattern in drifting versus anchoring. I just haven't had much luck anchoring along the MRGO rocks compared to drifting, and I really think it's got to be connected to the presentation of the bait. Somehow when I'm drifting, the presentation looks more natural. And that when my sliding sinker on the Chalmette rig is on the bottom and the floating jig head and the leader bait can just drift in the current possibly and maybe look more natural, because this has definitely been a pattern where I can catch them drifting, but if I stop and anchor and then try, I'll catch possibly a few, but they're just not in numbers like when I'm drifting. As I said earlier, there are some hard bottom sections along the rocks, and I can feel those with my heavy weight, that sliding sinker. And so whenever I would feel that hard bottom, I would get ready to catch fish because they were going to be there. A lot of times that would be the precursor to the fish. So our clicker says we have 40 trout in here, which I think is about right. So we're wrapping up the day. It's about 1 o'clock. We stopped trout fishing about 12. The bite kind of died off. I think the tide had slowed down significantly. But we had 40 trout by then, plus a few more. We had thrown back a few small, like 12 inchers. So that was plenty of trout for one day. All of them were caught on a Chalmette rig, mostly with ultraviolet colors, either a zoom bait or a matrix shad. The zoom had a really nice color, but they didn't hold up. I lost probably 3 or 4 zooms, and I lost none of the matrix shad. They're just a lot tougher bait. And so it was a good day, good clarity, good water movement. The winds picked up a bit from the south, but they were still decent, and it was a good day.